There is a man by the name Robert Frost who in 1915 wrote a poem called The Road Not Taken. Has anyone heard of that poem? Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Okay, there are three hands that have gone up. And it's a really, really good poem. And I want us to pull out your phones. It's only got 4 stanzas. And I'll ask someone to read one stanza and then someone else to read the other stanza and so on. So just Google Robert Frost, F-R-O-S-T, The Road Not Taken. If you could pull it up and just put your hand up when you find it. Thank you, Beryl. Anyone else? What's your name?
Choge, Peter.
Peter, Choge. Anyone else? Thank you, Emmanuel. Anyone else? Okay. What's the name? Dana. And? Morgan. All right. So let us read the poem. It's a very interesting poem, and I want you to just imagine yourself. Peter, if you can come and stand with me. So Choge is in a forest, okay? And so you can imagine, let's put him here. And he's at a certain point where the road can go this way or this way, and he has got to make a decision. So this picture is an image of someone who is at a decision point, at a fork in the road. Do I go this way? Do I go this way? And this happens very many times in life. We are at a fork in a road. Do I marry this girl or this girl? Sometimes it's not a fork of 2, it can be a fork of 4, it can be a fork of 10. You have many, many options. And so if you can imagine yourself at this point, and he's got to make a decision. Okay, so are you going to stay here? You can stay here. You can, in fact, why don't you read the first stanza for us, please?
So, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry, I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Peter. So you can see, do you get the picture? He's described it as a yellow wood and be one traveler, which means he's alone, right? It could be she, but it's a he in this description. And looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Yes? That's, you've got the picture. Okay, now, Emmanuel, I've seen you give away your laptop. Okay. Are you going to read it for us? The second stanza. Yes, please.
Then took the other, just as fair, having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same.
Okay, so he's at the same spot, and so let's assume. Okay, come back, Peter. I need you as an aid memoir. So we'll turn around, and so we'll have this left side is the one you looked down, but then which one did you take? Took the other, the right side. Okay, so did you see that? So what you read is that he looked this way, and he looked this way, and he took this one because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the passing there, they had worn each other about the same. So he's saying, is there much difference between the 2 roads? Can you read it for us again, or Emmanuel, read the second stanza?
Then took the other as just as fair, in having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for the person there, had worn them really about the same.
Is there much difference?
No.
No.
No, there's no difference.
Not much difference, right? He's saying it's grassier, but it wanted wear, but really they were about the same. So there's not much difference between them. Okay, Beryl, will you read the third stanza for us, please? No, stay here.
And both that family equally be, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day.
So he kept this one for another day. Yes?
And knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back.
So interesting. So what Peter is saying is that he said he would like to come back and go that way, the left way. And so he went this way, and yet he says in the poem, knowing how way leads on to way. You come to a certain point, and what do you find? Another fork. and you've got to decide which way. And then, so the same dilemma you had there, you have here, and you have to make more decisions. And then you carry on and carry on. And Beryl said, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Okay. And who'd like to read the last stanza for us? Yes, please.
I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in our wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and this has made all the difference.
That's right. That has made all the difference. So what he's saying is that if you're 21 years old, what is 21 times 3? 63. That's my age, okay? So you've got to live 3 times to get to where I am. So I will be telling this somewhere. How did it go? Ages and ages?
Somewhere ages and ages
Hence, with a sigh, right? That 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. So that's a very interesting thing, that when he is mzee, isn't it? Peter will be looking back and saying, you know what? That decision I made on that day, which led this in this different way, has made all the difference in the way life has turned out. So that's it. Thank you very much, Peter. Let's clap for Peter. Choge. That phrase, and that I took the road, how does it go, Diana?
I took the one less traveled by.
Yes. And that has made all the difference. So there's a gentleman who came after that called M. Scott Peck. And he wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled. What is the name of the poem we just read? The Road Not Taken. Now, many people confuse the two. The road not taken, I took the way, how does it say it? Road not taken. Yeah, but in the last stanza.
The one less traveled.
The one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. So M. Scott Peck wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled. And you can see he has borrowed it from this poem. All right? Pardon me? Yes? And so that book then had a very, he was a therapist, a psychologist, and he starts it in a very, very interesting way. And this is what I want us to think about. 3 words. The first chapter, the first paragraph, the first line is 3 words. And the words are, life is difficult. I want that to sink. And so when you ask me, how could that even happen? How can your marriage fail? If I were to answer it, I could say life is difficult. Things are not as smooth. And so one of the first things that M. Scott Peck makes is that those of us in the room, let's assume that there are some people here, this side of Choge, I don't know where he's gone, these guys who choose the left road, right? And then there are some other people who choose the right road on this side. Let's assume these are the people who are the pessimists, right? They accept that life is difficult. Can you see that when they wake up in the morning, they will have a very different approach to life to these guys who have rose-colored glasses? Kina Emmanuel and others who are on this side. You expect things to go smoothly. You expect things to work out as they should. Can you see a difference in the way you approach life? And what M. Scott Peck says is that if you have this kind of approach, I want to call it realistic rather than pessimistic, that life is not going to be easy, that you will have greater chances of succeeding. Because if you wake up in the morning and the matatu leaves you, right, just as you are going to get on, and if you're driving and another car cuts in front of you, you have an accident, or you are just got to the office or wherever it is you work, and the coffee spills onto you, it spoils your dress or your blouse. That is just part of life being difficult. Things do not go smoothly. Things do not go new. And we need the kind of attitude that these people have here. Understanding that life is not easy, it is difficult, and that's normal. It's nothing unfair. Life is unfair, but it's nothing being done to you personally to make things difficult for you. It is just the way it is. If you're on this side of, is it Clavers? And you expect things to go smoothly, and then they don't, what M. Scott Peck says is that that's where neurosis comes from, and psychosis. People wondering, why did my girlfriend dump me? Or why did my boyfriend not understand me? Why are we having these issues? Why did my child get diabetes at the age of 5? Why is it in my family we are the ones who have cancer? We have a strain of cancer in our family. Why am I not as pretty as some of the other girls? There's many, many questions we can ask. But if you understand and accept that life is difficult, then you're on a better footing, okay? So that's the first thing. So what is the solution then to what is proposed? And the one word that M. Scott Peck says is discipline. We need to learn discipline. If life is difficult, the way we are going to get around this is by learning 4 disciplines. And when we talk about undeterred excellence, you might think that life is very smooth. And despite setbacks, you will just continue to succeed and succeed and succeed. That's not the way it is. There will be bumps along the way. And I think if you have this framework of understanding that life is difficult, you are much better off and better prepared to survive. So here's the first discipline. We need to learn the discipline of delayed gratification. Please make a note of that. Delayed gratification means that what you want, you cannot have now. You have to postpone it. And what kind of things do we want? We want, maybe you can give me some examples of things that you want, but maybe you can't have immediately. Yeah? A car. That's a good example. So you have to delay gratification. The car will come, but it will take time. What else? Yeah.
I have a question. Is
Yeah.
delayed gratification something that you desire to want to do at the time because you can but refuse to do so? Or is it something that you can, like for example, I have 100,000 in my bank account, for example. I can't buy a car, but I want it, right? But I can buy myself maybe a soda, but I'm watching my health. Is that also delayed gratification?
The delayed gratification is a good example, is where you want something and you want it really badly, so you will do whatever you need to do to get it. And so for many people who want things they can't afford, like a car, you only have 100,000 and the car costs
1 million.
$1 million. So he'll go and borrow 900,000 so that he can have the car.
Okay.
So he has not learned delayed gratification. Yeah. Another example? Pardon me? A 6-figure salary. Okay, yes. So that's 1 million shillings at least, right? That would be nice, isn't it? Yeah. Well, in my time, when I was working for Davis and Shatcliffe, I enjoyed those 6-figure salaries, but not at the start. But certainly in years to come, not 1 million, but many millions in the course of each year. So it comes, but may not come immediately. What else do we? Yes, please.
Like healthy body.
A desire to have a healthy body.
Yeah. Like I have to work out.
Ah, right. Yes. So you don't want to do the exercise that's required to have the healthy body. And so there's a tension there of delayed gratification. Any other example? Yes.
5-day vacation in a 5-star hotel.
How many day vacation? 5 days in a 5-star hotel. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good one. So it may come in due course. Yeah. Yes, Goja. Yes.
Thank you. Jacob Niana.
Yes, Jacob.
I think for me, what I really desire is to be making
Let's listen to Jacob.
100,000 shillings per minute as a passive income. That's something I really desire.
Okay. All right. Well, the next cohort, they're going to say per second. And why not? Okay. So you desire that. Okay. Anyone else?
He says a wife.
A wife. Delayed, a beautiful wife, not just any wife. Okay. Yeah, why not? You want her now?
If possible.
If possible. Are you ready? Anyway, yeah, so there are many points, many examples that can be raised. But learning the discipline of delayed gratification is an interesting exercise. If I said to you that I was born in 1962, how old was I in 1966? 4 years. Now, I did not know this until recently, that there was actually an experiment that was done at Stanford University. You can Google this if you like. It's called the marshmallow experiment. And those people were they were kids who were 4 years old. So they learn to speak, they can walk, they can express themselves. You can imagine a 4-year-old, yeah? So picture this. A kid is brought into a room. They're told to sit down. There's a table here. Choga, I'm going to spare you sitting here. And on the table, there's a marshmallow. Do you know what a marshmallow is? That's okay. You know what it is?
Yes, yes.
What is it?
Just this soft candy or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a soft candy. So the kids are brought in from a door here, and the teacher brings them in, and she says, "Do you like marshmallows?" And the kid says, "Yes, of course they like marshmallows." So if you like more, they're sitting at the table here, and there is one marshmallow on a plate. And they are told, if you want more marshmallows, do you want more marshmallows? They say yes. Then wait, don't eat this one until I come back. So the teacher walks out, and they leave the kid there. Now, the first time they did the experiment, there were no cameras, but they repeated the experiment years later. And let's say there was a wall here where Richard is, and then they put a camera behind the wall, and they watched the kids. Boys, girls, Chinese, black, white, from all kinds of backgrounds. One by one, they would come in. Some of them would take the marshmallow and lick it. Just lick it. It's not quite eating it, right? And put it back. Others got tempted to nibble the edges, nibble just the edge, and then put it back. Guess what some of the other kids did? They just ate it, yeah? Said, forget these other marshmallows, this one is here. Others were like this, yeah? Or holding the chair. Watch that. There are some videos that show how the kids responded. But you know what is interesting is they were testing how many of these kids are able to delay gratification. And then they followed them. It's a cohort. You know what a cohort is? It's a group of people, like you guys are a cohort 11, and you can be followed. So maybe 10 years from now, we will see how you guys are doing in life. 20 years from now, 30 years, when you are, you're still not my age, are you? If you add 30, okay, let's add 40. If you're 22 and 40, if you're 23 and you add 40, you finally get to my age, right? It's a lot of years to add. Will you then, how will your life be You asked about the mistakes to avoid. Which mistakes will you have made despite all the advice you've been given? So that's what they did. How old are the kids who were 4 years old in 1966? How old are they today? Come on, guys. I told you, huh? No, they're my age. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I told you at the beginning. You don't need to calculate it. So they are my age. So when you follow a cohort, Gabriel, you said something about Hesabu, eh? You follow a cohort for many, many years. It's very interesting to observe the decisions they make. If they get married or not, who they get married to, beautiful or not, how they lead their lives, their health, their careers. Are they able to earn 100,000 shillings a minute? Some will. I don't know in this cohort. What will it do to them? What is the effect of that? And how they have learned to delay gratification. And what they found is that those who had learned that discipline, even at a young age, were generally more successful. They did better at school. They did better with their diets, with their exercises. Not that they were perfect, and not all of them, but generally, the learning the skill of delayed gratification, whether you're 4 years old or in your 20s, is a very useful skill. Just because you want something doesn't mean you can have it. And learning to eat your vegetables when you don't feel like it. Learning to sleep when everyone else is awake, out partying, learning to study, saying, yeah, go and have a good time, but I will stay here and do my assignments. That's delaying gratification. When, as I like to tell with the guys, keep your zip up. Where's the one who wants a beautiful wife? Keep the zip up until the right time. Because I asked you if you are ready. You may want something, but you may not be ready. It may not be the right time. Atiandike nini? Keep your zip up. That's a good one. So that's part of delaying gratification. So that's the first discipline, all right? There are many ways of applying it. I think one of the things I've learned about people in the US is that the amount of credit card debt, because it's so easy to get credit. I don't know if you find it here, but in the US and in the West, they come and give students these. And people who don't know how to delay gratification, they go and run it up to the maximum. Maybe it's $2,000, or if I gave this young man, how many minutes? Say 100,000 shillings a minute you want? Is that right? So if I gave you a minute, so 60 minutes is how many thousand shillings? 60 with 6 million. 6 million. So if I give you 6 million on a credit card, how long would it take you to spend it? Yeah, it's a lot. Not for him. Anyway, the point I'm making is that we need to delay gratification in all kinds of areas. You understand? With our food, with our exercise, our health, with money, with sex, with many, many different areas. We need to learn that discipline and keep teaching ourselves. Wait for the right time. Wait until I can afford it. Wait until I can spend money like that, okay? The second discipline is, I like to remember it by doing this. I put my hand up, and when I do that, I'm saying, I am the one to take responsibility. It's called the discipline of taking personal responsibility. This is where, Diana, we stop blaming our parents. Remember we were saying earlier how walifanya, hawakufanya, walisema, hawakusema. When I take personal responsibility, I stop blaming our president. Choge. Yes. Nothing about WSR and saying he must go. He's our president. That's who our president is. Okay? There are things that we find, we blame our teachers, we blame our university, we blame the tribe we're in, the country we're in. Why can't I be like so-and-so? Just accept responsibility for where you are and your station in life. Stop blaming others all the time. And those who are able to do that on a regular, ongoing basis do better in life. And for me, if I can apply it to the point I was saying, I have to accept my contribution to the way that my first marriage ended. I had a contribution to that. I cannot blame it entirely on my ex-wife, right? We can debate the percentages, but it does not just rely on one person. It takes two to tango. And taking personal responsibility, there's a negative sense and a positive sense. The negative sense is where you stop blaming others. But the positive sense is where I do what I need to do, taking personal responsibility. Okay, I'm from a poor background. I'm from a very small tribe or a very poor community. In which example did Machango give us? Northeastern Kenya or wherever. But you can't blame your family. That's your background, right? And taking personal responsibility is saying, yes, that's who I am, and I'm there because if I want to make things different, I'm the one who's going to make it happen. So taking personal responsibility, as I say, by putting my hand up, is a very big one. Stop blaming other people, right? Any comments, questions about that? Yeah.
At times when we stop blaming other people, we get to blaming ourselves. How should we handle that? Because the blame on ourselves, at times, it's way, way bigger than now the blame on others.
Okay, that's a very good point. And I would rather deal with that than the one where I'm always saying I'm the innocent one, and the problem is always external. But you're right, if I just take all the blame on myself, then I can have other problems. And so that's where now you take from being a negative perspective. Remember I was saying there's a negative and a positive? From a positive sense, and this is what happens when we take therapy, what can I do about this? And sometimes it's seeing a therapist is helpful. Seeking counsel from other people who are your peers or some people who are mentors, you can get advice. Share the problem with family. We talked about the role of family. And you can pray to God, seek advice from the scriptures. I would say that you are not entirely to blame for everything. But the first thing is to stop blaming others. Yes, take responsibility for what you have done, but then there are some things that are even outside of your control. I know that Gabriel tells me you've been studying the 7 habits. You talk about sphere of influence and sphere of concern. Is that right? So if it's outside your sphere of influence, meaning the area you can do something about it, then what you do is you just let them. I say let them because that's a book I just finished reading. Who asked who is reading a book? Was it Machango or was it you, Gabriel? It's Gabriel. I was disappointed by how few hands went up. I really would encourage you to read. That book I referred to is called Let Them by Mel, I don't know what her second name is. Robbins? Yeah. There are 2 parts to it. There's Let Them and Let Me. So sometimes especially when you're dealing with alcoholism or gambling or some addictions, habits that are very difficult to control, sometimes they're outside of your control, and you just let the people come to the point where they need to ask for help. But then there's let me, what can I do to take responsibility for my actions? And you take those steps I was telling you. Okay? Let's go to the third one, the third discipline that M. Scott Peck talks about, and that is to do with, it's the discipline of dedication to the truth. Dedication to the truth is a very interesting one because when we are in our 20s, we tend to be very idealistic. And that is why in countries around the world, the people who are sent to battle, to war, are in their 20s. They're in their late teens, they're 18, they're 19, they're 20, 21, 22, 23, they're thereabouts. They're the ones, because most of you, and I guess many of you are in that age group, yeah? You've no longer living with parents, with family. You're setting out on your own, but you don't yet have your own nucleus. right? And yet you tend to think very strongly about what is right and wrong. Things are black and white. And so yes, the Gen Zs of today are very vocal. It's a good thing, but it's not a new thing. It has been there if you go back in other generations when this university used to have strikes. It's always the same group of people. It's idealistic. And so they want to stand up, this is right. I'm going to fight for my family. I'm going to fight for my country. I'm going to fight for God. And the people who are my age group, the ones who are the leaders, manipulate young people who don't have their own hawana msimamo, and they make them think certain ways, and they become extremist. And because they are passionate about life, they tend to just follow. Now, the reason I say that is dedication to the truth is that things, as you get older, you get to your late 20s, you get into your 30s, get into your 40s, you begin to get a bit jaded. By jaded, you begin to see things are not as bright. Maybe I don't earn 100,000 shillings a minute, and I never will. When you get to that point, you become a bit disillusioned. And so what tends to happen is that we say that by the time, let me use this, Obura, is it okay if I use this? So we have a circle here, and there's this, let's say this is the bullseye, Africa in the middle. And so by the time you, what age did you want to be earning 100,000? Is it right now? Right now, okay. So maybe when you wake up tomorrow morning, or next month, or next year, you find it's still not happening, you will be a little disappointed. But if it hasn't happened by the time you're 30, you begin to wonder, will I ever be able to do this? So dedication to the truth is getting to 30 and realizing this was what I wanted to, where I wanted to be, but actually I'm down here. So what do I then do about it? I can go and take my life. I can take responsibility, say it's all my fault, I didn't make the right decisions. Or I can make new goals. Okay, now I'm 30. You said the name is Miano. So I'm now 30, and what you do is you make new plans. And you say that, right, by the time I'm 40, this is where I want to be. And guess what? You get to 40, you're still not earning 100,000 shillings a minute. but maybe you are here. Maybe you're earning, give me a lower number. 5,000. Okay, 5,000 shillings a minute. And you're making progress. Life is going on, right? So this dedication to the truth, what that's about is just constantly adapting to where you are. Because people get stuck. People really, really get stuck in life. And they get to a point and they're just unable to realize, okay, I thought, I believed I would get a first-class honors. And I didn't. I got a lower second, or I just got a pass. Now what do? They just have to accept this is my reality. Or the one who did get a first-class honors and they were expecting to get a job and they didn't get a job. Just because they have a first-class honors, so what? So what is your reality at each stage of life? And so I have found that even in my own life, accepting the fact that I am divorced, and the impact it has had on the children. So the realities of what you are going through, you just have to keep adjusting. And it's not necessarily time-driven. Sometimes it's driven by different kinds of events. But that's the third discipline. The fourth one, the last one, is the discipline of balance. And what I want to say about this one, this is M. Scott Peck. He said that we need to avoid the extremities in life. Spiritually, there are some people who are so spiritually minded, so heavenly minded, they are of no earthly good. Do you know those kinds of people? They don't know kusaidia their neighbors, the people who are right next to them, the one who is in the next bed, the next house, the one who needs help right now. They're just thinking about heaven. Or there are others who never think about heaven. They think we'll live forever. And yet we know we will all die. And so you need to think about eternity. Where are we going to end up? What is my relationship with God? When we think about exercise, there are some who are called couch potatoes. You know a couch potato? He just lies there. It's usually a guy with a TV remote, just flipping channels, watching football or gaming console, and not doing anything about their lives. That's an extreme, isn't it? We need to do the exercise. We need to watch what we eat. We need to, I guess it links back to the first one, which was what? The first discipline? Delayed gratification. So balance is avoiding extremes in all areas where you go, whether it's being social or partying or spending money or studying, any extreme is not good. And we need to make sure that we do everything in moderation. So those are the 4 disciplines that M. Scott Peck told us about. This book came out in 1978. It sold millions of copies. And it got its title from The Road Not Taken, the poem by Robert Frost. Okay? So as we think about undeterred excellence, what I would say is this, that I would encourage you to appreciate the foundation that you are building through SLDP. Okay? It's good that you have prioritized this, that you have set aside time. You do the homework, do the self-work that you need to do. Because there's a scripture that comes to mind, and I want to end with this, and I'll take any questions after that, where Jesus was telling a parable, and he said, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. Then the same thing happens. It says, the rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. That's Matthew 7, verse 24 to 27. And I just want to say this to you, that the vicissitudes of life that we mentioned earlier, the challenges of life, could be illness, could be job loss, it could be relationship failure, it could be disappointment with finances or career. Those things will come. That's what it's talking about, the rain coming down, the streams rising, and the winds blowing and beating against that house. That will happen to everyone. And the test of time is what shows what kind of a foundation you had. So when we come back to Choge and him standing here, should he go this way or should he go this way? You take responsibility. We ask ourselves, what does God want me to do? Well, God wants you to use your common sense, use the experience, seek counsel, get help, and then make decisions as you go along. And my experience is that when you apply these 4 disciplines, the discipline of delayed gratification, the discipline of taking personal responsibility, the discipline of dedication to the truth, and the discipline of balance, that is how you end up with undeterred excellence. Because really, the foundation is tested with time. And if those tests come and everything just collapses, then it means your foundation was not good, it was not strong. So build that foundation using the disciplines, and that will give you the undeterred success you want. Thank you very much.